Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, it's time to get our talk on. Once again, it's the Friday show. Every Friday from 8 to 10, we're here with myself, along with none other than champions of talk, Vicky Fennell and Cleo Duke-Wright. And this morning, we just have Miss Vicky with us. With Cleo out, down and out, a little minor surgery, but she's doing okay. How you doing there, Miss Vicky?
I'm doing great.
Despite
this rainy, wet Friday morning.
It's messy out there this morning.
And people get messy too. It's like the brains slow right down.
Yeah,
they drive like maniacs when there's a snowstorm, so go figure.
Rain fog.
Rain fog, brain fog, yeah.
Yeah. Rainy brain fog.
I think so.
Yeah.
So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. I been a busy week. But other than that, I'm doing fabulous. You know, got a couple of edit sessions to do today, and shoot tomorrow. Great. 2 shoots tomorrow.
Wow.
I think Cheryl from the Collective's memorial is tomorrow.
Oh,
and that's going to be at the entrance to Keeney Park.
Oh, it's going to be outside?
It's It's going to be outside. At least it was last I haven't been told otherwise. Let's put it that way.
So what time is that?
6 o'clock tomorrow.
Evening. Okay.
Evening. So we'll do that live.
Okay.
On location. So that'll be
another Hartford treasure gone.
Another Hartford treasure gone. So that then Sunday. What's happening Sunday? Nothing really. Sunday morning, I moved Light Source Victory Television and melded it into Morning Talk.
Ah, okay.
For Sundays.
Okay.
So Sunday Morning Talk. So we're on 7 days a week.
Wow.
With Morning
Talk.
So
if anybody missed anything.
If you miss anything, then on Saturday, you can catch the best of.
Okay.
We pull something from the week and put it on Saturday morning.
Great.
And so every Saturday is a repeat. But no, just tune in every morning at 8. Mm-hmm. That's it. Every morning at 8.
That's what I've been telling folks.
Yeah, every morning at 8, there's something on. If it isn't live, it's a repeat of something you didn't see.
Terrific.
So, or something that you saw and want to see again, or something that needs to be shared with your family and friends.
Those are 3 great scenarios.
Wow, you know what? You have in your hand something I was gonna. Once we got on the air, I was gonna go and pull it up from the file that. The front page and next week's potential front page.
Oh, really?
Yeah, next week's potential front page.
So there's further, yes, as I saw here.
Yeah.
There's further.
Yeah. So your mind and my mind are aligned.
Yes, in sync.
In sync.
Shall I show it, or are you going to show it?
No, I don't have anything to show, but you can show it because I was going to talk about that.
Do you want to talk about this afterwards, or how long? What do you want to go into now?
I don't have anything to go into.
Okay.
It's just talk. It's morning talk.
Okay.
That's what we do. We talk. Good morning there, Dr. Bowen. Dr. Bowen said, good morning, Talk Champions.
Oh, well, good morning, Dr. Bowen.
Yeah. So there it is. Wanted. Look at that. That's on the front page of this week's Inquiring News. The editor and publisher, wanted for Connecticut. Black governor and Hartford leadership that one keeps promises, ensures transparency in economic development, assigns a panel of educated minority professionals to review resumes for building North End prosperity. Lift it up so people can see the bottom part. No sellouts need apply. Follow this publication for further details. Yeah, and lower it just a little bit so we can see the wanted. Wanted. Now, I would contend that I'll make a suggestion for a third cover. Wanted leaders, false leaders who sold their city out.
Oh, very much so. And who continue to prosper under the falsehood. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's a very bold, I think this week's headline is a very bold commentary and very necessary. Hats off to Reggie Hales.
Reggie Hales, yes.
Hats off. I mean, the black governor thing, I think it's long overdue. I think since we've got our first black treasurer many, many years ago, I don't think that the treasurer's office is where we should stop.
I agree. I don't see a black governor happening in Connecticut.
No, because I don't see us in any kind of line of succession here. But that's not to say that it can't happen.
That's true, but I think that the reason the numbers aren't there.
No,
the numbers just aren't there. That's not to say that there can't be a governor who is of color or African descent, from the descendants of captivity, whatever you want to say, but in terms of a governor who has an agenda for black people, that is something I think that you could reasonably see. I don't think black folk want a governor who is brown skinned. I think they want a governor who is going to be straightforward, honest, and not sell out interests of brown skinned people.
Or anybody for that matter, yeah.
Right, because everybody has people have different interests, and to me, they're all legitimate. It's not we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater and say, well, because one group wants something, we delegitimize the group.
Right.
How can we supply that group with what it's requesting while we're sensitive to everybody else? That's all. It's not. But
that's leadership.
Right. And
you don't have that.
And it seems when it comes to people of color, they're always they're lied to.
Marginalized.
And marginalized.
Yes.
After the lie.
Right.
I don't even think it would be so bad if you were told straight out, we're not going to do anything for you. You're on your own. That I can do. I can do it.
Yeah, I can
live
with
with that.
Yeah.
That to me is as bold and honest as we don't serve your kind. Post it right at the door.
Yeah.
Don't come in because you won't get any service. All right, that's cool. At least I'm not sitting there
What they show
in line
Boston.
waiting.
No dogs, no blacks, and no Irish. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a long time ago, but that's what was.
I prefer that over the smiley face.
Yeah. And the waltzing and the dancing and the lying and
right.
And that's what's going on. That's what's going on.
Why do folks who see us putting forth an effort to unify black people in regards to an agenda see it as a threat, and they never want to just focus on us as a group?
Because of their own insecurities. And again, I was having this discussion with my father over dinner last night, and he says the other groups of people have never been enslaved. We have been. And so with that brings other psychological issues to the oppressors. And so there is he explained it that it's about loss of control. It's about, I can't control you anymore once you become equal to me. I think the way he put it is, once the slave becomes equal to the master, he's not a slave anymore. And so that kind of thinking is very threatening. It doesn't matter if other groups unify and do things, but the former slaves, the former descendants of slaves, are the threat. Now, if you ask a white person that, they would say, "Oh, well, no, I'm not threatened by that." Well, yes, you are. And why? And I remember years ago when Professor Derek Bell came up to Central Connecticut State University, and this is the time when I think he had just published his book Faces at the Bottom of the Well. And a white person stood up, I think it was a professor, stood up, and afterwards during conversation, Q&As, said, "Well, if African Americans got the power, wouldn't they treat whites the same way?" And so I remember Professor Bell's answer. It was very thoughtful, and he says, "Why would we do something like that?" He said, "Why? What is?" He said, "Why would you even make that kind of bring up that kind of question?" He says, he says, "We would never treat you the way that you've treated us."
There's no historic basis for that,
right,
because that has not been the demonstrated case,
right,
with people of brown skin from the African continent. Because there's people with brown skin,
right,
other places,
right,
but the people who originate from the African continent have not demonstrated that in a whole. That's not to say that there aren't issues with brown skinned people killing one another.
right.
All over the world. All over the world.
Well,
and I don't mean like black on black crime. I mean,
right,
in terms of vengeance.
Sure.
You can take a look at Haiti right now.
Oh my God. Hutus and the Tutsis.
Right. So, but this.
But Europeans have killed each other too. So
right.
I mean,
So if you look at it in that context, human beings kill one another. I guess the other part of the question would be, or the question that would be put forth would be, why is it always got to be about color?
Yes.
Can't we all just live in a colorblind society? We can, but we don't.
No, that's right.
That we can, but we don't.
Right. Too many judgments have made about people based on how they look.
Oh, yeah. Instant.
Right.
People make instant assessments instantly. You look at a person and you determine whether or not they're friendly, a threat, kind, easy mark, someone you can get over on. I mean, all of these things, what level of resistance I'm going to get, these are all prejudicial statements. And everyone is guilty of it, even those who say they don't. And I'll use this as an example. Going to ask your boss for a raise. You know, first thing people do is they take a look, see how things are going. Is he in a good mood today? He doesn't look like, she doesn't look like she's in a good mood. You know what? I'll come back tomorrow. Because you're making assessments. The only way to really know is to ask.
Right.
And most people are not willing to risk their raise with a big no by asking at the wrong time. So you make all these assessments. And, you know, you're inundated in the news 24/7 about what people are acceptable and what people aren't. So you make these decisions subconsciously. And it is unfortunately, we see the issue around color being very, very ever present on the stage. But black folks, you know, I don't think that other people's desire to see us prosper or fail should have any bearing on our own ability to unite, come up with agenda, prosper, or fail on our own.
That's right. I agree.
I mean, there's a lot of people that did not. Do you know that the state of Connecticut passed a law and put fining capacity in use of plastic bags? You can't use those little. They're
gone.
So they're gone. They brought them back temporarily because of the pandemic, right? So, but they're gone. So what did Walmart do? You been to Walmart lately?
No, I have not been to Walmart lately.
We went to Walmart Sunday. Was it Sunday or Saturday? We go every week to Walmart. So they have these real thick plastic bags now, same shape and everything, but they pass the.
So they still charging.
By definition, they're now reusable up to 125 times. Actually, there's an article in the paper about it, but
oh wow.
But they look just the same. It looks like the bags are stuck together.
Oh,
same shape.
Isn't that creative?
Very creative, because they are now legal, because they're not under the mill.
Yes,
the
thickness, right,
of the plastic is thick enough to not qualify as a disposable plastic bag by definition of the law. And so, you know, all the people who want them to now adhere to the spirit of the law as opposed to the letter of the law. But that didn't stop Walmart.
Now, are they still charging 10 cents or no?
I don't know if they're charging you for them or not, but they're using them.
Well,
they're supposed to be outlawed.
Yeah, well, paper bags now are being used at Stop and Shop, and they're assessing a 10 cents.
Are they just charging you for the bag?
Charging you for the bag, right?
Yeah, that's 10 cents in their pocket.
Of course.
Yeah. So my point is that just because someone wants you to stop a thing doesn't mean that they do.
Right.
But we always seem to stop because someone else doesn't want us to do something. And so what other folk think about our agenda shouldn't even be an issue.
The defeatist attitudes must stop. And you have to put on blinders. And you have to really take the attitude of a speeding train. Speeding train it goes down the track.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it's in his way. Oh, well.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Elon Musk, I think he's becoming a poster child for a lot of things because, of course, he's doing what other folks say you can't do.
Is that the SpaceX?
No, Elon is...
the car.
The car,
yeah.
As well as space.
Yes.
But he's not SpaceX. I think...
Everything's starting to kind of... Richard Branson and you got Bezos. And,
right. and Elon. So the three of them are trying to get to space first.
Okay.
And colonize Mars. And
Good
the
luck
moon.
with that.
The moon is mine. I've been here, so. But he is, Elon with the electric car, and so he's doing all this battery technology.
Right.
His spaceship is made out of aluminum. No, steel. Excuse me. It's steel. I want to say steel. Steel rings. I read a big article about it. I can't remember the details. So, but nonetheless, the manufacturing of it is in such a way that it is inexpensive. Mm-hmm. He's breaking the norms. Mm-hmm. People don't like when you break norms.
Of course not.
And the one thing he's doing is with his car is he's using. You ever see those cars like, model cars kids have, and they're all like one piece. They screw them together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Top and the bottom. Well, he's making cars that way. They have these huge machines that they've developed that extrude molten metal, so that when they come out, it's a whole car. Top and a whole car bottom.
Mold, like?
It's a mold,
like a Jello mold kind of thing for cars.
Right. and so you don't have to weld or
and do all
bolt
that intricate.
all these pieces together. Okay. It's one piece. It will revolutionize manufacturing, and it's going to put everybody else
out of work.
Never mind out of work, out of business. Yeah, out of business because they can't compete. For them to gear up an old factory to do this with just so suddenly he upsets the whole apple cart with a whole new process for manufacturing, and of course with the robotics, the speed and the rate at which cars will start coming off the line. And I only mention that not to talk about Elon Musk, but there's a lot of people who don't like him.
Ever wonder why?
And that doesn't stop him.
Of course not.
Which is my ultimate point.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't stop him. He doesn't care. No. The ultimate don't care person is the one person everybody hates or loves to hate. That would be Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump cares?
Of course not.
What
I mean, he is still...
People think?
He is... Basically what he does is he gives people the middle finger, New York style, and moves on. And he just says... F you. Move on. I'm going to do what I need to do.
Right. We learned how to read, became senators, members of Congress, against all odds when reading could get you killed. Mm-hmm. Literally.
Yes.
Strange fruit hanging from the tree because you were learning how to read. So there's always been obstacles, but those obstacles never stop.
Right.
Anybody. So no one should be setting our agenda.
But us.
But us.
I agree. 100%.
Wanted. Hold that up again. Wanted for Connecticut, black governor and Hartford leadership that keeps promises, ensures transparency in economic development, assigns a panel of educated minority professionals to review resumes for building North End prosperity. No sellouts need apply. I love it.
I think it's one of the best headlines that he has ever put out.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Not a couple weeks ago. 1 week ago. Mm-hmm. So 1 week ago. Wasn't this Monday, but the Monday before, or was it this Monday? This Monday just passed?
Yes.
This week?
Yeah.
Wow, it seems like it was a long time ago.
I know it does, doesn't it?
So this Monday was a holiday.
That was last Monday.
Yeah, Monday was
Monday.
the 5th.
Right, so it was last Monday.
So the Monday before that.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So, about 10 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
Reggie had a meeting
Yes, he did.
at Uptown Vibes about the state of business development
Mm-hmm.
in North Hartford
Correct.
and the status really of black leadership
Yes.
and leadership in general that is affecting the city of Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly black business in an extremely negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was rather well attended.
Very much so.
And if you are interested in seeing it, get in touch with Reggie Hales at the Inquiring News. He has a video of the event, and if you would like to see it, he will make the arrangements for you to see it. But you were there.
Yes, I was.
Lots of people were there.
Lots of people were there. I was even surprised at some of the people that showed up.
Well, Charles Matthews was there. I did not realize he was not invited.
Oh, I thought he was invited.
I thought he was invited too, but in a forthcoming summary of the event that Reggie sent out, he mentioned that he was not invited. But he came. And he had an opportunity to speak.
Party crasher, huh? Wow.
Right, so I thought that was interesting. So there were, but I'm glad he was there so that he could hear.
Absolutely.
And there were other entities and other people there that were, mayor staff.
Yeah, very interesting.
And I thought I didn't have a problem with them being there because they could hear and take back to the chief elected official and other individuals.
I think that's interesting. If a group of Hispanic business people or community leaders got together, would those same people still be there? Probably not. I don't think that the mayor would be concerned about them. Anybody on the mayor's staff might be concerned about them. So I think this is very interesting.
Well, one thing is for certain. If he runs for re-election, he's going to need the African-American vote. He's going to need the quote-unquote black vote, the North End vote. You can't get into office without it. It won't happen, period. So the issue is one of when will black leadership stop selling itself out?
Yes. And it's continuous. And some of the people who were there were the people who were speaking, some of them, not all of them, but some of the people who were talking about needing plans were the very people who aided and abetted to get the current occupant in 550 Main Street into office. I thought that was very interesting to watch that. Really? Number one, you show up. And number two, you decide to stand up and say that we need a plan. You're part of the problem, whether you realize it or not. You galvanize people from North Hartford, particularly the Blue Hills neighborhood, to get this man into office again. And he's showing you what he's thinking of you right now, particularly with this project on Albany Avenue that now has been put on hold, Rohan Freeman, 7 Summits, okay? He's showing you what he thinks of you. Read the article in the Hartford Courant, folks, if you haven't. So that's the way he thanked you, the West Indian community here in Hartford, that you did not properly vet, that you believed the lies. I have articles from the West Indian American News when he first ran for office. He made a special point to come to the West Indian Club, social club. And he told many tall tales about economic development for North Hartford. And it looked good on paper. I was not fooled, but you all were. And here we are, 4 years later, was it 2 terms now? This is going
second term.
Second term. And what's happening?
Second term.
What's happening, North Hartford, huh? You ought to be ashamed of yourselves for being played chump once, but twice? No. No, we don't deserve this. We don't deserve it. And I believe that we have the candidates here. We have brain power. We have someone here. We have people who can run, and they should run. Because, like I've talked about this on Facebook. This is not an open secret, and I got pretty heated. I don't know if you saw it, Stan, the other night. I basically used some salty language, and I said, "What we got ain't working." And then people read that, and I guess my passion is coming through, and people now are saying to me, "Well, you're very passionate about City Hall. What, are you running?" We better all be passionate about City Hall and what's happening there because it affects our lives. And you've talked about this, Stan, all the time, is that the local elections matter more than the federal elections.
All politics
Tip O'Neill
is local.
That's right. That was what
all
he said.
All politics is local.
Yeah. So all these people who are wondering if I'm going to run for office, I'm not going to announce it on Facebook if I did. And I think everybody needs to get passionate and get involved, because if you start holding people accountable and throwing them out of office, we wouldn't have half the crap that goes on in these cities. And I don't care what city you're talking about, Hartford, Chicago, Los Angeles, Dallas, anywhere, New York City. Okay?
It's interesting that people say that, So are you running for office? The Channel 3 asked me that question.
Yeah, I remember that.
They said, "So is this because you're
running for office?
Running for office or don't like the mayor?" I said, "It has nothing to do with it."
That's right.
And and you all have to understand the tactical use of that question. It's like a knife, if you will. Well, I shouldn't say a knife, a baseball bat, or it's a weapon.
Yeah, it's a
weapon. It doesn't have to be the analogy doesn't have to be a brutal weapon, but it's a tool used to disarm and depower the individual. So you have to be very careful how you answer the question, because you have to answer the question with the same kind of.
You have to come back. You have to have a good comeback.
Yeah, the comeback has to be equal to the
right
to the assault or the charge. So, one, if everyone held whoever the current elected officials are accountable by asking them tough questions and making demands, then they will do their job. They'll acquiesce because it's politics. It's not rocket science. It's politics. All right. So if someone says, "Well, are you running for office?" then suddenly what you say doesn't matter anymore, because you're just running for office.
Right.
So we can dismiss you. But see, if you're not running for office, then the next thing, well, you're just mad.
That's always You're disgruntled. That's what I've heard. You seem to be and it's interesting that the person that says this doesn't even live in the city of Hartford. I mean, come on. Where do you get off? Where do you get off with this? Why don't you move in Hartford, huh? Help us solve some of these damn problems. Don't just be sitting out here pointing the finger saying, "Are you running for office?" And you find everything wrong with City Hall.
Well, quite the contrary. I would people who anyone who says those things, I find it disturbing, troubling, and quite disturbing when people make that suggestion. Like, you as a constituent don't have a right to point out something that is wrong. So that, people like this are often in charge of things.
Yes, they're
bosses.
Yeah,
now, if they ran their businesses or companies or agencies with that attitude, every time you point out something that an employee or staff is not doing right, and the staff said, see, all you can do is find fault. No, I'm not finding fault. I see an issue that needs to be addressed, and I'm addressing it, and if your attitude continues, we will be looking for a job somewhere else. Same thing. All elected officials work for the constituents. Mm-hmm. They are people who fought to get into those positions. I mean, they didn't fill out a resume.
No.
They went to war. They went into an open contest against other human beings to win the privilege to represent the constituents.
And some opened up their wallet bigger than others
to
buy the office. Yes.
So it was their privilege to represent you was so intense that they were willing to pay money out their pocket to get in. So that means that they really want to represent me. And when I get there and ask them for something and they're dismissive, I take it personally because you fought to get here. So, if you as a constituent see something wrong with City Hall, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
That's right.
Your representative is inside that building. Your representative is inside the state building. Now, you're not the only one they work for. Mm-hmm. But when you're having an audience with them, they're the only one you're the only one they're talking to. And you have concerns just like everyone else that has concerns. And so if you allow yourself to be dismissed, then you will be dismissed. But that to me, oh no. I maybe it's a pet peeve of mine. I don't care if everyone on the planet is dismissive and could care less about me or my issues. I have no problem with that. I have a problem when elected officials do that.
Right.
Because that is their job. To represent us.
Holding people accountable. That's right.
So we got to hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
If you don't, they'll do whatever they want.
That's right.
So you don't have to run for office to be upset when you see something wrong.
Absolutely not. I think some of the greatest leaders of our country never ran for office. Dr. King certainly didn't run for office. He didn't. But look at what he did. The movement forced political actors to act.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish that people would read American history, especially Black history, before you start making statements like that. They're ignorant statements. And if people want to run for office, they have number one, they have the right to do so.
Right.
And there are proper procedures and policies in place, such as getting enough signatures, applying, Secretary of State's office or the town clerk in the city here. Okay. There's ways to do it. If people want to, and I encourage people to do it, they should run. But don't just, when you're living outside of the city, making these comments that are really ignorant. That's really what they are, for lack of a better term.
Well, sometimes I think that, there are always agents in play.
Always.
For the winning team.
Well,
to run defense.
Yes, and I've said that there are cheerleaders for incompetency here, and that's what you see. Cheerleaders of incompetency. It reminds me of the old Kennedy and Nixon debate when JFK says, if you're satisfied with things, and he laid out different scenarios regarding different groups, and I think it was in the first debate he said this. He says, well, if you're satisfied with that, then fine. Then you probably want my opponent. But if you don't want that kind of leadership, brand of leadership, then I'm the man. Okay? So if you want that kind of leadership that continues to do those sort of things, well, then do it. Keep it. If you want something different, then I think the next time around, you get something different.
Gotta vote for the change you want to see. Right. If unity, this is these are comments from a viewer. If unity creates better outcomes, why are systems such as structural racism in place to divide and conquer? That's an interesting question. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question because, I understand conceptually structural racism. Mm-hmm. But I don't embrace the concept. To me, way before there is structural racism, I mean, if we look at this as a system that is in place, I would say that structural racism sits way down at the bottom of the bag. More up toward the top would be structural sexism, where women are. I mean, there's clearly a system in place, like a caste system.
I think they're both.
There are both, but I think that if structural racism is a system, as the question suggests, why are systems such as structural racism in place to divide and conquer? ? I think the answer is self-evident because it's in the question to me. It is in place to make sure that you don't have better outcomes.
That's right.
If it is a system, then
a system is designed to work a certain way.
It produces what it's supposed to do, and it's just a system. It has no personality. It has no likes or dislikes. It is just your car is a system. If it doesn't work, the car won't start, and it's not personal. It just is. And so, if structural racism be what those who say it is, you have no more chance of deconstructing it than you do taking the pistons out of your car and expecting it to run. You take the spark plug out of your car.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't run. You take the ignition out of your car, and it won't run. Everything in the wheels, lug nuts, everything is interdependent on all of its parts to make it run. So the only thing you can do is to deconstruct the system. And if one wants to spend one's life trying to deconstruct the system, have at it. But the country has been known to go to war against other countries to protect its interests. If a group of citizens think that they're going to do something,
January 6th, huh?
Well, that didn't work out so well.
No.
I mean, now that's not to say it can't happen. We're here because a group of citizens decided to rise up against the empire and the queen, king, actually. England was brought to its knees by these rebels in the Americas. And now that system is firmly in play,
which we helped get their freedom from England, fighting in the American Revolution. Yeah.
And so things have changed a lot since then. So I think that, our unity creates outcomes for us. It's only when we compare our outcomes with their outcomes that we start to get into trouble.
You can't.
Absolutely, no more than you can with your neighbors. I think the external comparison traps leads us into a whirlpool of misery. So instead of appreciating the gains we have, we
work towards more.
Right.
Right.
We can't. So that's just me. I think you set a goal and you move toward it.
Right.
And
And you don't let any obstacles or personalities get in your way.
Right. Tom Brady. Washed up, right? Till he took his son to work. The last game, right? Bring your son to work.
Oh, is that the new one now? Bring your son to work now?
Well, that's what, when he beat the, when they beat, was it Mohorn?
I'm not even keeping
Okay, in the last Super Bowl, Brady beat them. And so
Right.
there's little pictures of the other quarterback on Brady's shoulder. And it was bring your son to work day.
Oh.
Because Brady beat him so badly.
Yeah.
And I only say that to say that Brady's supposed to be over the hill, done.
Mm-hmm.
But if you allow other people to set your limitations, then you will conform to whatever they set.
Right.
And so he went and turned what was a losing team into a Super Bowl champion team. All right, it's one thing to do it where you've been doing it. It's another thing to go to one of the worst teams and do it right off the bat. So either you're a champion or you're not. If you claim to be a champion, then be the champion. You don't let the other teams in the league who are out to get you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. The system is designed to take everyone down except the best.
Mm-hmm.
And they succeed. So I use the sports analogy so as to throw out, just because there's opposition doesn't mean you can't win. But you can't focus on the opposition
Right.
and their
Cannot.
gains. You focus on your own gains.
Right.
You set your plan. If you see what the opposition is doing, you come up with a defense to work around. You don't stop your forward advance because they're trying to beat you.
I agree. My dad and I have this conversation all the time. If he had listened to some of the naysayers in the police department when he was there, I don't believe he would have made it as high as he did. There were people that told him, well, give your money to a politician. He said, what the hell am I going to give money to the politician for? I mean, this is the mentality of people. And then, when he enrolled at the University of Hartford, why are you going to do that? It's not going to do you any good. These are the same people that never even set foot in an educational institution. Okay, I think if they had set foot, their brains would have exploded. Okay, all right. These are people that did not make investment in professional development, books, courses, seminars, things. And there were some seminars that my father would not be allowed to attend because the police brass had their favorite boys. Yes, boys. Okay. So, and he made a conscious decision to say, tune those folks out. I got to do what's best for me and my family. And he did. And so that's my personal example right there. And I'm sure there are other people in other people's families that did similar things. I mean, you cannot allow other people to define you. You define yourself. You acquire the knowledge and the tools that are necessary. You have to be a risk taker. And you have to do it. And those same people who behaved the way that they did to my father were the same people who stood there, and watched him, and then they, once he got into the position, it became ingratiating themselves, So everybody loves a winner. Okay? Even the people that hate you will reluctantly admit, wow. Yeah, we didn't stop him. Yeah. He did it anyway.
The pioneering spirit.
That's right.
I think to some degree we've lost the pioneering spirit.
Oh, of course.
We
Yes.
we no longer look at challenges as that of a pioneer. We look at it as that of child approaching parent asking for permission to do a thing.
I think even just as a country, we've lost a lot of that can-do spirit, that enthusiasm. I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership. The leadership of the country is different. I certainly feel a difference. I think people who have lived longer than us, my parents would certainly say, it's a different story now.
Yeah, we no longer have that. We can conquer whatever's ahead of us, and it trickles down. Excuse me, from the top all the way down to the bottom. You have to have a pioneering spirit. Nothing should ever be in the way of your vision. The Bible says that people without a vision, the people perish. And a vision, all a vision is a means by which to fix something. Something is not as it should be. So the vision is, how do you make it what it should be? What's the fix? So if you go into meetings and people are having conversations, and the first thing you ask, well, so what's the fix? Well, I'm working on it. Well, when you get your vision done, come back, because you have a vision, write the vision down, make it plain, and then execute the vision. Nothing gets in the way. So the pioneers, like your dad was a pioneer. John Stewart. If you can read my mind. John Stewart was a pioneer. So these people are pioneers. Thurman Milner. Carrie Perry. It's pioneer. You have to be a pioneer. You set your eye on the prize and go for it, irrespective of everyone else around you. If you put your eyes on the prize and then look at what everyone else got, then the motivation for getting there is totally wrong. Just go. Forget everyone else in the way. Yeah, they make life difficult for you. Oh, they're going to give you a hard time. Oh, they're going to call you that. They're going to undermine. They're going to set your bed on fire. They're going to do yes, and yes. Pioneers forge their way. That's how you do it. And then behind the pioneers come the settlers. I think for the most part, black folk have settled in the shadow of pioneers. And
there's a generation
and expect
now.
Somehow that just because the pioneers achieved a thing,
but our pioneers are, in some cases, they have gone.
Yes.
And what has happened now is you have a vacuum, a deficit of leadership. This happens, but you have to regroup very quickly.
Extremely quickly, because the opposition, the system is designed to maintain itself. All right. The system wants to stay functional. And if the system is put in place by people, then they want to benefit from the system. Now, they're not going to sit down and sit back because you're here. They're going to double down and come at you twice as strong. So
because they're mad that you got there.
They're mad, absolutely
furious. How did this? We heard this when President Obama took over. Wait a minute. How did this happen?
And remember, it's impossible. It's impossible for a black man to become president. It's impossible.
Some of us even believed it. Some of us, I got into more arguments with our own people about this stuff. And I said, when are you going to, you know what? I said, I finally got so angry at a couple of them. I said, you know what? We're out of slavery. We're out of chains right now. But the shackle is still on your head. The shackle is still on your brain because you don't believe this can happen. Now, whether he was a good president or a bad president, history will judge. We got him in, okay? And I saw those same people, and I looked at him, and I said, And the person had to reluctantly admit that I was right. And I said, I hope this taught you a lesson. Remember what just happened here. And remember what I told you. And I walked away.
What is the gain that has come from divide and conquer? Mindsets in this society where negative propaganda adds fuel to the pre-judgment fire.
Well, of course,
that never gets extinguished.
That's all part of the corruption. The corruption has been the news media. Or mass media has been the vehicle to push out the message.
You know, that's a profound statement, and because the media is really the fourth branch of government.
You know, they bear responsibility.
It's supposed to be. The media is supposed to be looking for the anomalies and reporting what's going on so that you can be informed. A free press is necessary for
it used to be.
democracy really to work. But if the press gets compromised, then the press becomes an agent of the power elite, and now you don't have enough information to do anything.
Right.
By the time you find out, it's too late.
Yeah, you know, for all of the criticism of other systems, and they point the finger at other countries and propaganda, you're doing the same thing here. I mean, intellectuals have said this. Noam Chomsky talked about this. The media, the manipulation of the mass media. That's exactly what's happening here. And so there has been a narrative that has been fed about African Americans, people of color in general, but us, that somehow we're the bad guys. You see it all the time. In old movies. I mean, Birth of a Nation. Oh my God, they're going to do something to our women. Oh, okay.
That was a powerful piece of propaganda.
Yes, yeah, okay. Fast forward, the news media. You know, every story that you see, you would think every black man in America is committing every crime here. You don't want those people in your neighborhood now, do you? Look at how terrible they are. You want them coming in? Yeah, I mean, look, we have a current occupant at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who sat in the well of the Senate when he's introducing his crime bill. Yes, Sleepy Joe. I don't want those people coming in my neighborhood and raping my women, raping my wife. Yeah, really? Really, Joe? Do you remember what you said without an index card? I remember what you said. It's on YouTube. Right there for everybody to see. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
At least for now.
For now, till they take it down. Yeah.
Systemic racism. Another viewer. Systemic racism will always exist. We can't dismantle an inherent mindset. We can, however, it's imperative that we unite as a community of people to protect our collective interests. Well, that is absolutely,
I agree,
true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we no longer have the luxury of not working together.
Yeah, and you have to recognize that there are people with racist motives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are systems here in this country that allow them to act it out. Question is, recognize it and be able to put a kibosh on it.
And that takes a little bit of courage.
It takes courage. It takes a little bit of research. It takes a little bit, you gotta apply yourself. It's brain power. Because the people that act like that may not necessarily be very smart. They've always been known to stub their own toe. It's like a criminal. The criminal thinks for so long that he can get away with this till he becomes arrogant. He says, I'm not going to get caught by the cops. I'm untouchable. And then one day he does something stupid. And on the handcuffs.
It reminds me of an episode of Columbo. Guy's so smart, you know, and the criminal.
Yeah.
And it's Columbo kind of tongue in cheek. There's a little humor in this show, and at one time, Columbo was like the hottest show on television.
Yes, it was.
And let me not digress too much. Anyhow, the guy at the end of the the program, the guy he's amazed that Columbo figured out how he did it. Mm-hmm. And because he's so smart, he's a genius, that and the third. And Columbus says, well, you have to remember, I do this every day. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
You're not going to outthink. This is what I do. I catch murderers. You're just a murderer. He thought he was so smart that he had the perfect crime, but no. You're just another criminal out there who thinks they're smarter than the folk who are going to catch. That are going to catch you. The question here about us uniting, community is self-sustaining, self-policing, and self-educating. If you are looking to others to educate you, you don't have a community. If you're looking to others to police you, you don't have a community. And if you're looking to others to sustain you, you do not have a community. So it has to be self-sustaining, self-policing, and self-educating. And one of the things we have to learn how to do if we're going to build a community is, first and foremost, be self-policing. We get caught up in emotions and stuff like that. And, well, that's my friend. We went to high school together. We went to kindergarten. I've known them since kindergarten. They're not that bad. No, they probably not that bad. But they need to be taken out and beat to death for bringing that to the table.
That's right.
Because in here, it's not about friendship. In here, it's about building community.
Right.
And if you have agents in the community who are undermining you, if you don't police them, they will be your detriment. It just is that simple. You can't have a compromised group making a change and an effort. So if you have Judas Iscariots in the group,
and there are Judas Iscariots.
Then you're
of them
done.
have betrayed us.
You're done,
That's right.
And you just call them out, and almost I don't know. We take a blood oath. If we catch you, we're gonna take you to the train tracks and tie you behind to the train tracks. I mean, these are to me, that's the conversation needs to be had. So you get in a room, lock the door, keep everybody's cell phone in a lead line box, and put that thing in a room across the field. Then you come in, almost close to secret society. Mm-hmm. Because the opposition isn't playing.
And I bet some of those people who were sitting in that room who spoke about all this stuff went right back and called the powers that be and say, I went to that meeting. And this is what they talked about. And this is what they're going to do.
I call those other people's Negroes.
Is that the new show on Broadway? Other People's Negroes.
I was chastised for using that term one time.
They are.
But
that's exactly what they are.
Other people's Negroes. Because if you have people in the room,
they certainly aren't James Baldwin. I am not your Negro.
If you have people in the room who undermine the collective effort of the group, to me that's treason.
It is.
It's treason by any definition. Right. If you were a part of another organization or another country and you did that, you would be brought up on charges of treason and you would be shot. Mm-hmm. And so if you have people in the community who are part of the community committing or guilty of treason, they need to be dealt with by the community as agents and actors who have been treasonous. And I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Because it should be known up front.
Right.
If this is going to be a problem, leave.
And we don't want you there.
We don't want you there. We're not saying you don't have a right to breathe or exist, but you can't be part of the part of the group. How are you gonna be part of the group and then you undermine the group? If you get caught undermining the group should have the right to deal with you harshly.
Organized crime does that all the time. That's the greatest example.
Talk about a system that works.
It certainly does. What did Gotti say? Take him out.
Right now, the most organized criminals are government. Now, if you think you're going to come in there and undermine them, it's
ain't happening.
The remarks of the host of the program are his and his alone. They don't necessarily reflect the minds of those associated with him in anything that I do. Each person has an obligation to themselves, their families, to intellectually, evaluate themselves to the highest level available to them. We as a people need to seize every opportunity presented to us to break the socioeconomic racial wealth gap. I will agree with that. I mean, take whatever opportunities you have and maximize them. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. I think that's the way it's done. One step at a time. The gap shrinks as you increase.
Absolutely.
As you grow, the gap shrinks. As your gains grow, the gap shrinks.
Right.
Wealth is accumulated over time. I'll never forget I was at a high noon meeting. This is...
Oh, I remember high noon.
Remember high noon?
Yes, years ago.
That's the way back. I used to meet when I was in attendance. They met, I think it was called Wilson's Place. Was that down by the ranch house? There used to be I think it was called Wilson's.
It wasn't Hal's, was it? No.
No. It wasn't Hal's. It was a club. And it was down. I'm pretty sure it was called Wilson's Place. Yeah, it was. That was down by. You'd go down there and dance. It was right over the Windsor line.
Yes, it was. Oh, okay, I remember that. Yes.
The Hartford-Windsor line. Mm-hmm. Right there by Violet Street. I think that's the last street in the.
Because then later on it became Benjamin's.
Benjamin's, right. Okay, yeah. And the treasurer of the city of Hartford was the guest speaker, mm-hmm. Denise Napier, mm-hmm. who went on to become the treasurer for the state of Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about money. I think they were talking economic development, wealth. The subject never changes. Right. Just the players change, but right. The same subject. And I asked her, what's the difference between, how do you define wealth and being rich and having lots of money? She said, wealth is the difference between what you make and what you spend. It's not how much money you make. It's how much money is left over after you spent what you made. So if you make $1 million, you got $1 million and one in debts, bills, and obligations, you don't have any wealth. If you make $1 and at the end of all your expenses, you got 50 cents, you're doing better than the guy that made $1 million. Mm-hmm. We think of wealth as how much I'm making relative to how much we have. Mm-hmm. Wealth is that overage. It's the accumulation mm-hmm. of your things. And it's not about how much money. Do you have assets? Mm-hmm. And what are you doing to work toward those assets? I know Jeff Bezos didn't have any assets when he started out. Mm-hmm. He got a whole lot of them now.
Yeah. And you have to understand the language. What is an asset? An asset is something that you own. A liability is something that you owe.
So the gap, there's all kinds of gaps. And gap data, I have a theory about gap data. the education gap is widening, which is horrible news to us. Mm-hmm. But it's good news to those who profit off of the gap and are concerned about that gap closing, meaning more competition.
Right.
See, everyone ain't looking at stuff the same way.
Right.
And sometimes
the gap doesn't, when you have a gap and people are not doing well, we don't have to worry about those folks.
They're so far behind.
They're so far behind. They'll
worry
never
about
catch
them
up.
catching up.
That's right.
But we do need to give them a bone.
A bone? No ham on the bone?
We reserve ham on the bone for the sellouts. Where's the paper?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Where's
yes, that's right.
Get the
ham,
paper.
I forgot they do get.
We get a ham for these people. A golden.
Is it a whole ham? A Smithfield ham? What kind of ham is it?
A good smoked ham.
A good smoked ham.
A smoked
Here we
ham.
go.
There it is. There's no sellouts one. Get you a ham for you and your family for Christmas.
Yes.
And did such a good job. We get you a ham. Get you a ham you can't eat. A golden ham.
Oh.
You're gonna change the carrot. That's all. You got a carrot out there. Put something else on the carrot to get them to run faster toward obtaining something they're not gonna. All right. I need to go back up. I'm trying to get caught up on the comments. There's a lot of them. We need more confidence, and we should be excited to pursue challenges and not taken aback. Challenges offer opportunities to learn, grow, and develop as an individual and a group. 3 exclamation points, or marks rather. We model our appreciation, we model our apprehension to challenges to our youth because they are taking their cues from us. Now that's
Very true.
Profound.
Yeah, very true.
That's profound. You're those who are looking to you, and that's really deep. Not only our children, we not only model to our children, but we model to those who look to us as role models, or leaders model that to the folks who follow them. So if you have apprehension about things, then everyone else, you're sending that message out to everybody. So if you say to your elected official, look, we really want you to fight for this, they say, well, I don't know. I don't know if we can win that one. I won't save my powder for a bigger project and whatnot. So we gotta stay in our place, in our lane. And then now, so everyone reads that as, well, we lucky to have feet. We ain't never gonna get a ham. And so we have to model a willingness to be pioneers, take the challenge, and be victorious, even if you die on the battlefield.
That's right.
Come back defeated, but don't come back having not tried.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you have to get out there and you have to try it. You have to do it. Marshal your resources. And do it.
In general, we as a society have become way too comfortable and complacent and indifferent and lazy. Lack of ambition and apprehension toward challenges keeps the status quo as it is. Absolutely. No doubt about that. That's how Nat Turner rebellion turned bad. Someone in the room / meeting went back and told traitors must be flushed out of the group. Treason will not be accepted. Amen. Let me get to the bottom of the list here. Nothing beats a failure but a try. Yep.
Very true.
Yeah. Try. We want you to try. Your constituents authorize you to try. If you get shot, we will say nice things at your funeral.
Well, I think if you're the right leader, you already know you're a marked man.
Absolutely.
I mean,
if you're trying to stay alive, you failed the first question in the leadership test.
You have to know that once you assume that position, you will be taken out.
Just like the quarterback.
It's not a surprise.
We have to neutralize the quarterback, not personal. If he throws the ball, if he continues to throw the ball the way he's throwing the ball, we're going to lose.
That's right.
Take him out.
That's right.
Break his knee, compromise his knee, exhaust him by making him run around the field. You know, he can be kind or brutal, whatever the case is. But the fact of the matter is you need to neutralize him as an agent who is effective. So you have to have a good defensive line. I think sometimes we approach this as though, you know, the opposition is just waiting for us to just ask the right way. No, to pass a bill and they don't give you any enforcement mechanism.
You know, you have
so
to.
It can't be enforced.
You have to approach this as a sports strategy, and it is a strategy. It is.
Yeah.
And the strategy is to win at all costs, despite all obstacles.
There you go. Someone asked me the other day, they were saying, you know, in fact, it was last night I was talking to a friend of mine. Oh, we gotta get rid of Luke, right? I said, Luke is not going anywhere. Yeah, but I said, hold up. Does he have supporters? I said, yeah, he has a lot of supporters. He's the mayor. He won an election. The governor supports him. There's people in the legislature that support him. He has enemies. And so, but he's not going anywhere unless he either leaves town or is beat at the next election. So to get rid of Luke is not the issue. That's how he got reelected. Anybody but, you know, but Luke has supporters. The mayor has supporters. Either you find more people who support someone else or he wins, or whoever else. You can't vote against him. You have to vote for something else.
Right. We know what is there presently is not is not working.
Right.
We know that. So the question is, we've got to do better. We've got to do better.
And like you said, we deserve better, but we don't. You know who we deserve? We don't deserve better from the mayor.
Right.
We deserve better from each other.
Absolutely.
Because the mayor is not our problem.
No.
The problem is ourselves.
Right.
And I mean that particularly to those who say, well, you can't blame us. You can't blame the victim. No. If you are the person who is negatively affected by a thing, then don't expect the thing that's negatively affecting you to turn around and start helping you. You got to find a way to get that bear trap off your ankle.
That's right.
And run for safety, or you will be eaten alive. I mean, that's the state that we're in. So if we're looking to, because I had people tell me this. I could give you the names of these people, but I will not do that because that would not be decent, respectable, or fair. But I had people tell me to my face, if we vote for a white man, he will be in a position to do stuff for us.
Yes, I heard that.
He knows the governor.
Really?
And the governor will do stuff for him. We're not going to get nothing. So we have to, if we get a white man in the office, he'll do what's right for Black Hartford. He's going to have to because we're the one going to get him in.
Well, is
Fast forward.
If that's the case, that project on Albany Avenue would be going forward right now as we speak.
That's to let you know, sit your behind down.
Right. Again, the mentality here is what is self-destructive and suicidal.
Right.
Anyone who has a brain in their head and intelligence and understands municipal government, state government issues, financing, can do the job. They know where to find the money. We have a delegation that goes to the Capitol to get what Hartford needs. Any mayor can do that. And I had a conversation with someone who said this to me. Well, he knows where to get the money. I said, that's a false argument. Any mayor that sat in that seat knows where to get the money for Hartford. We have a delegation that understands how to do that. So that argument doesn't wash with me. What else have you got? And the same person who was at this meeting last week looked at me blank. I said, you have not made the argument of why we need to put him back into office. You haven't made the argument. What projects can you point to in North Hartford that he has initiated on his watch and have completed to fruition? This person said to me, well, the schools, and I said, those schools and everything, the projects, MLK, Weaver, all started under the previous council, the previous administration. What project? And I asked for tangible evidence, okay? Person couldn't provide it. But they were bought off. Yeah, you see? And you're the same person now that we're talking about we need a plan. Really? I think you're coming to the court with dirty hands.
Yeah, and Hartford's an interesting town because it's a one-party town. Mm-hmm. And as a one-party town, there are split interests when it comes to moving agendas forward. Because in order to move certain agendas forward, you have to be beholden to the Democratic Town Committee. In order to move some interests forward, you have to be beholden to a particular group. In order to move another interest forward, you need to be beholden to a certain geographical area. And the master puppet players are in control of all of those. Mm-hmm. And they make sure that you're always chasing after the carrot on the stick as opposed to the agenda for the people you ultimately represent. You don't represent the town committee. You're on the town committee to represent your people. Mm-hmm. And so the power is always in the people. But the power of the people is only there if you unite. And so unity is paramount. It's absolutely paramount at all costs. We'll take a short break, and then we'll be back. You know, the Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz is back.
Yay!
Next Friday it starts. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine and visit. This is from 2016. Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz. That is the Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz. It's coming up, and it's going to be smoking. That's going to be next Friday, next Saturday, and next Sunday. Go on out and enjoy yourselves. It'll be in Bushnell Park. The Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz returns. I know we'll be there. I'll be there with the Chatted Up crew, Jesse, Ewert, and company. And we're going to be doing some live stuff here and there, interviewing people. I like doing that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be lots.
Bring your off.
Yeah, and bring your off. Yeah, and spray your ankles.
That's right.
Spray your ankle. I was fine. The 4th of July holiday. We went over to my mother-in-law's on Sunday, and small cookout. And I was playing badminton, actually, with my daughter and my wife. I was crushing everybody. No mercy. And take that, 10-year-old. No, no, we were having a lot of fun. But I didn't use any off at all. They were spraying the grass. Everybody was spraying one another.
So much.
But I was pretty good covered up.
Well, probably after all of that, you would not have any kind of, if people were spraying grass and each other, you probably had a very nice barrier of protection.
I didn't even think about it until like 2 days later. And my ankles, the mosquitoes were drinking blood from my ankles.
Oh.
So when you take your socks off, then, oh my goodness. So, yeah, take the off and use spray your ankles. Dr. Bowen actually has something here. As a group, we need to stop all complaining, which comes from our emotions. As a group, we must begin to set aside our emotions and think in terms of solutions. We must employ smarter strategies and solutions. Smarter. SMARTER.
I think complaining is a natural mechanism. It's a natural response. I don't think that should be discouraged, but I think the strategic thinking and everything I agree with. Got to go.
The logical conclusion of a complaint is a resolution.
Absolutely. So you can make the complaint. The next step is, okay, what do we do about this situation? I make complaints all the time, but you have to go to the next level. I can just complain all the time, but it doesn't make sense to just complain. It's what is the next step? And then you have to be willing to follow it through.
Yeah. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, evaluable, and revisable. Smarter.
Absolutely.
Smarter. Specific, measurable, attainable. So once you take your I think people should write the complaint down.
Absolutely.
I guess that's what a good complaint form is for. Write the complaint down. That's what I'm going to start saying. Telling the people when I hear people complain.
Write it down.
Write it down. Write. I don't want to hear nothing. Write it down. If you can't take time to write it down, then it don't mean nothing.
That's right.
You're just running off in the mouth. Just mad. Be mad. That's cool. Go out in the back and just scream. Because you being mad is about as...
It's useless. And it's okay to be angry, but what is the next step after anger?
It's like being mad because you're lost on the road. And now what?
And
I found an analogy for emotion because you don't have any information. People get emotional when they don't have information. And my analogy to that was the GPS. You're driving. Clearly you don't know where you're going because you use the GPS. But that doesn't seem right. That's pure emotion. The GPS actually is nothing but data. It knows how to get you from one point to the other, and it's going to take you the quickest way. But in your non-informed mind, your emotions start rising up because you look like you might be lost. You get concerned. It's what's to say, nah, this thing is all jacked up. I'm gonna go straight. See, I make emotional decision based on what I think, not what the data is telling me.
Right.
So I throw the data away and I wind up sitting in traffic twice as long because I didn't go the way it said. So I think that we get emotional, and we need to not be as emotional as we are. But specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, evaluable, and revisable. I actually have my smarter card here.
I wish more people read that. And then
yeah, my smarter card.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
You ought to get a billboard on the highway and put that up.
Put the smarter card on the billboard. Exactly what are you talking about in being specific? How can you measure it? A, attainable. How will you get it done? Relevant. Does it have anything to do with you? Time bound. When do you see it happening? Evaluable. Can you check to see if it is working? And revisable. Can you make changes to the plan? Mm-hmm. And also remember that your view of smarter might be different than your opposition's view.
Right.
Because they'll change a plan in a heartbeat.
Of course. It's called changing the rules.
The ultimate plan change.
That's right.
And they have the power to change the rules.
And you have to allow for that as the opposing party. That there will be a change in strategy. And you have to be nimble enough. Okay?
One viewer says, complaining to a doctor, he has the solution. Who are we complaining to? That's an interesting twist, but I would say, if you're complaining to a doctor, you've already taken a step toward the solution.
Right.
You don't know what's wrong with you. But if you get there and the doctor complains, you got a problem.
Yeah.
You're the third person this week that's coming here with that. You guys keep coming in here over and over again. No, doc, I need a solution. Right. The doctor is a trained expert in medicine. Mm-hmm. And is in practice to make it better and better with each patient. So, if you go to the doctor, he has a solution. A lot of times, people believe the politicians have the solutions, and they don't. They're not They're not experts in every subject. They're experts in moving agendas through the system toward a solution. They have access to experts. They can call witnesses. They can hold hearings. They can gather information. They're supposed to work with you, not be geniuses in all things. So, if you complain to your politician, I think you should take, lobbyists don't complain to the politician. They bring the politician a plan. And they use the politician to get their plan in play. They're not they don't go up there with what can you, they take a whole plan.
They have a package. They say this is what we want. Unfortunately, the people don't have that.
Well,
which is why we see the outcomes that we see.
we should have Reggie on as a special guest.
I think so.
Yeah. I have to invite Reggie on as a special guest. We next week I'm off all week.
All week.
All week.
Okay.
We have scheduled repeats for the week.
Okay.
This program will repeat next Friday, but we will. Next week I'm in production,
Okay.
so I can't be here because I have to leave. I have to be on location at 10 in the morning, so I have to leave here at 8ish, 7:30, 8ish, to make sure I am where I need to be. So otherwise I would leave here at 10:30 and get there at 12:30, 1 o'clock, which is too late. So I won't be here. So I think
Okay.
I've told everybody now,
Okay.
except Miss Cleo, who I have to remember to call before next Thursday, because she'll show up here on Friday.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And all right, Miss Vicky.
Yes. Well,
Time
safe
evaporated.
travels. Yep, safe travels. Good luck with your production next week.
Thank you. I'm not going far.
It's okay, but you're
But
still
yeah, be on the highway.
still got to travel.
Yeah. So thank you for the safe travel. Yeah. I would tell people where I was going and what I was doing, but I'm forbid.
Absolutely not.
I'm forbid. On pain of being thrown off the roof.
Ouch.
As it should be. If you
Right.
talk about this project. Are you a fan of The Mandalorian? No.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. All right.
So,
The greatest secret in production history was that Luke Skywalker would come to rescue the baby Yoda.
okay, Star Wars. Okay.
And they shot this scene at the same time they shot a scene from a movie. I mean, you talk about keeping something under wraps. Like 5 people knew.
Wow.
The greatest production secret in film history.
Interesting.
All right, my friends, our time together has come to an end, as it does each and every day. Remember, we're here every day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, with interesting conversation. It's morning talk with your friends here. And our talk champion today, Miss Vicky Fennell.
Yes. Pleasure to be back.
Community mover and shaker.
Well, I don't know about all of that. I'm still hauling my garbage out on Thursday night, so I don't know how much of a mover and a shaker I am.
All right.
Still doing my own grocery shopping. You know, I'm
There you go.
never change.
All right. All right, my friends. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.